All right, welcome everyone to another general meeting. We keep these meetings every second Sunday of every month. So if you don't already have it in your calendar, you can just note that down. So the next meeting would be the second Sunday of next month at the same time. All right, so typically what we'll do at the start of each meeting. Just in case anybody is just joining, or maybe in case there are people here that haven't met other people here. Typically just go around, everybody kind of just give a quick intro, maybe what brought them to, this space, this community. Or maybe if you want to just tell us generally about your interest in AI or your background, feel free to as well. As the whole point of this community is to kind of create a network, have more people know each other. Right, so anyone is free to start, and then we can jump into the other stuff.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Ian Seymour. I am the ICT manager at a government agency. And I was intrigued about this space because I'm intrigued about AI. And so I applied to join your policy committee, and hence rest is history by me coming into the space now. All right. I'm also very curious and working on greater knowledge in cybersecurity and how AI will impact that going forward. All right.
All right, welcome, Ian. All right, anyone else?
Hi, good evening, everyone, and good to see you again, Ian. I'm Craig Peru, and I'm chair of the policy committee. I also lead the implementation of the digital media and information literacy policy framework, the national policy framework in the media sector. That's the primary project I'm working on right now, and that framework is being updated to include to weight more heavily artificial intelligence, since it was created in 2022 before ChatGPT and the current generative AI hype took off. And yeah, I'm very interested in the intersection of artificial intelligence and both social and economic policy. Thanks, everyone.
I can go next. Hey, folks, my name is Sean Van Wilden. I'm actually calling in from San Francisco, but had the pleasure of meeting Matt and others in the past through Tech Beach and other things. My background's software engineering, but I've been in this AI space since about 2019, doing a lot on how we collect data to train AI systems. I was at a company called Scale AI, and then actually went to OpenAI to help make ChatGPT better. And now I'm at this company called Mercor, which is doing AI and hiring. But working on a couple AI projects. One of them is like making a better audio and voice data set for Caribbean Creoles and dialects in general. So that I would pop in, say hello, and happy to talk more about that if people are interested later on. But yeah, lots of coding and AI experience here. So nice to be with you all.
All right, thanks for being here, Sean. Anyone else?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm Elroy Galbraith. Let's see, mostly I'm interested in AI research and development right now, hoping to actually find some research partners on some ideas that I have, but also contribute to research projects that the association may have. I'm currently actually heading up two teams. One is a data science and data engineering team in Jamaica for Aeon Technology Solutions. And the other is a data science team over here in Japan, actually, where I'm based. But yeah, hoping to stay connected to what's happening in Jamaica and yeah, meet some cool people. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hyacinth Alexander. I am the Senior HR Officer for 4 factories within my company. The reason for me to be here is that, as you all know, HR has a lot of administrative functions. So I want to learn how I can use AI to make my life easier, seeing that I have a huge portfolio, and just to know how to leverage the technology in my everyday life, because AI is here to stay and I don't want to be left behind. So that's why I'm here.
All right, thanks, Harrison. This is definitely the right place to be because we actually have master classes that help people get up to speed with AI tools and how it can be used to essentially make their lives easier. So thanks for coming. Anyone else?
Yes. Hi, good night, everyone. My name is Robina Thomas. I work as a data scientist for a retail supermarket chain here in Jamaica. Got interested in AI, as everybody would have, probably, or most people would have with ChatGPT, and started using Cursor to improve my data science coding and get into web development. So I was definitely interested in coming here and connecting with other people interested in AI.
Welcome to coming.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Kamar. This is my first meeting. I am a quality assurance engineer. I'm actually an intern right now. And really and truly, where my love for AI started was to see how different industries are using AI, from the health industry straight down to the business industry, the tech industry. That's what really sparked my interest, and using some of the large language models like Gemini and, Cursor, Claude, and the works. It really showed me what technology can really do, how helpful it is for you. So it really kind of opened my eye to see where technology is going now. And I got this link from a friend, because they were like, "You're interested in AI?" And I said yes, and they were like, "Okay, go join this group." And I decided to join. So I'm here to you know learn, give knowledge if possible, because it's good to learn and improve yourself day by day. So I'm just here to gain knowledge, give knowledge, and to enjoy.
All right, welcome. I think that's in Niles and
Yeah,
no.
blessings, Sir Stone. So I guess the idea is why are we here, I guess, to some extent. So to be clear, I'm a student currently in artificial intelligence, but what first drew me to the group is that my interest is in robotics and particularly cognitive robotics, and then learning about just the design of intelligent autonomous systems in the case of like large language models, just thinking about the whole domain of embodied AI and like just the prospect that it poses for robotics. And so like my desire is to like find an intersection between the two fields as well as be a part of just the whole possible revolution of Jamaica in adopting some of these technologies. And I find that this is a good thinking space and discussion space as well as action space to be able to enact that. So big up Sir Stone for founding. Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, welcome now. No one else?
Good night, everyone. I'm Travis Williams. I'm just learning, interested in AI from, I saw some DeepMind videos with the RL agents. So, been learning. Next year I should be doing some reinforcement learning, going through Sutton, and other stuff. So just excited to learn and work on and get better.
All right, welcome. Anyone else? We can, I guess, proceed. No one else wants to go. All right, so yeah, welcome everyone. As I said, this is this is more than a WhatsApp group. It's a community. And I want you guys to make use of the connections that you can build here. Feel free. If you see an interesting story on AI, drop it in the group, start a discussion. Feel free to reach out to people in the community. That's how the community grows stronger. Feel free to join the committees. We have several of them. Two committees have actually met already. The policy committee was the first one to meet, headed up by Craig. I think they're supposed to have another meeting soon. Correct me if I'm wrong, Craig. And there was a meeting the other day with the technical committee, with Jonathan. I don't think he's here today. And we have another committee, the research committee. We had sent out a Google form for that. I will put a link for that again. So if you're interested in doing AI research, we have several projects in the pipeline. The one most recent right now would have to be around the large language model, improving speech to text for Jamaican language. And if you want to sign up, the link will be in the WhatsApp group, so you can add your name to that. And we'll send out an email once we confirm the date as to when that committee will be meeting. But yeah, if you're really interested in getting into AI research, even if you've never done any sort of AI research before, or have never written a paper or anything like that, that's fine. You can come, you can learn, bounce ideas off of each other. That's how the best ideas come about. And yeah, as a group, we can get some of these projects done. So today's meeting won't be a long one, as we've already done the introduction and welcome. So I'm going to introduce another masterclass. So if you guys were here earlier in the year, you'd have known about the other masterclasses that kept earlier. So we had a masterclass on using AI in finance. We had a masterclass on using AI in healthcare. We had a masterclass on using AI for coding. And, all of those went well. People actually got certificates, and the general consensus from most people is that, it was very useful and it was quite valuable. So we're actually having another masterclass. So Tiffany Bent, she actually did a presentation, a workshop. Yeah, I would say a workshop a few months back, where she was telling us, she's an author, and she was basically telling how she was able to utilize AI. So whether that's Claude to help write marketing briefs or do translations for her books. So she writes fantasy books, and she was able to use AI to help market her books, and actually that allowed her to essentially gain a livable wage as an author. So she's just a perfect example of showing that AI is not just a gimmicky tool. You can actually use it to make a living, if you're serious about it. And she's gonna show this masterclass dedicated to essentially using AI for Facebook and Instagram marketing. So once it's actually supposed to start the end of this month, the classes are going to be on Saturdays. So we're gonna send out info on like when the class will start and sign up sheet. So if you want to be a part of the class, definitely, marketing is important for any product, anything that you want to do. So, I think it would be useful for anyone. So I definitely encourage you guys to check out this masterclass near the end of the month. And as I said, like this isn't just a theoretical thing. She has actually used it in real life. And she's made real money. And it's allowed her to essentially live out her dreams of being an author, full-time author, essentially, because she was able to use AI. AI enabled that, right? I know there's been a lot of talk about AI taking jobs and the job market is this or that because of AI, and it sounds like a lot of depressing news, but there are real life examples here in Jamaica as well, in the Caribbean as well, of people using AI to essentially create revenue streams that didn't exist before, open up opportunities that didn't exist before. And that's kind of the mentality we're trying to foster here at the JAIA, not looking at the negative. We're trying to see how we can work together as a community, share knowledge so that everybody can essentially get a piece of this AI pie. And hopefully open up some opportunities for everybody here. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this class. Right. Another important thing, or the next point on the agenda, we are actually giving away some data camp. I'm not sure if you guys know data camp, but essentially it's kind of like Coursera, but for like data science, AI stuff. And in partnership with a group out in UK, I believe. So he was actually at one of our meetings. He was able to get us around 20 licenses. So if you're interested in essentially leveling up with your AI skills or data skills, lucky for you if you're a member of the JAIA, because we'll actually be giving away licenses starting today. So if you came to today's meeting, lucky for you. So we're gonna have like it's a fun game or quiz, and basically, the first person to kind of put the answer in there in the chat. So that's what we'll be using to see who answers first in the chat. You basically, get one of the licenses, right? So we're probably not giving away 20 today, but maybe around five or six. And, as we go along throughout the year, we'll give out some more. But to get the license, you just give us your email and then you get the license essentially. So yeah, good time to be a member of the JI, right? And we're looking to do more of this in terms of partnering with entities, learning institutions, to see how we can provide more opportunities for you guys to learn AI skills at in an affordable way, which is why it's so important for you guys to become members, official members, because you're the first to hear about any of these opportunities, right? So if you're wondering what's the benefit of being a member, it's literally being shown here in real time, right? All right, so we will just jump right into that then, the giveaway. So I'm gonna stop sharing because the questions are actually on my computer. And I am going to throw the questions out there, and the first person to answer in the chat gets a license. All right, and we'll just do that. Keep doing that for each of the questions. So obviously you can't one person to a license. So it's not like you can. So if you got a question correct, just let the others get a chance to get their chance at a license, right? Cool. All right. So somebody in the group saying they've used Data Camp, really good platform That's what I used to learn data science. Okay. Is it Robino? Is that the name?
Yes, that's correct. It's Robino.
Okay, before I get into the quiz, you want to maybe talk more about how data camp helped you in your journey?
Well,
In the spot, but you know, if
yeah, no problem. Specifically,
Mhm.
for those familiar with data analysis, initially, if you start working in that area, you're going to start working in Excel. But as someone who had some prior programming background from high school, I was looking at making things faster and more efficient. And that's how I, did some Google search and found R. And I used DataCamp basically to teach myself through the platform how to learn R, and then from there develop skills in Python to learn automation. And, it has led up to now where I can use AI for coding. So it really started my progression into coding, into now being able to use coding with AI. And even still, you still using DataCamp to really keep myself up to date on basically any area in data science or data analysis that I want to keep up to date with. So yeah, it's really good. I'd recommend it for anyone's focused on data science, and with some of the new AI courses that they have, definitely would help you for introduction into the space.
Well, there you have it, folks. It definitely there's value here to be had. So yeah, wouldn't miss a boat. Get ready for those questions. I see a raise hand. Dwayne, go ahead.
Yeah, how will we go about doing this? Is it in the chat? We're gonna post
Yeah. So I'm
our
gonna ask the question and just I'll put your answer in the chat. So the first one I see pop up. The first correct answer that pops up gets the prize, basically. So yeah, keep your fingers close to your keyboards. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing and let's get right into it. So the first question is very easy. Probably just going to come down to who can type the fastest, to be honest. All right. So I'm monitoring the chat. What does the term LLM stand for? All right, the first one I see is Kemar Christie. So congrats, Kemar, you get the first license. Sure was like maybe I'll find a hand clap sound effect. All right, yeah, so Kemar has gotten the first license. I don't know how you guys type that fast, but that's pretty cool. So large language model, yeah, that's the answer. All right, so congrats, Kemar. On to the next question. This one is a bit harder. I'll phrase the question in a sort of Jeopardy style. This open source chatbot was developed by Alibaba. What is it? Seeing a lot of DeepSeek, no. See somebody with the first right answer. Stedman. Yes, the answer is Quen, not DeepSeek. Yeah, answer is actually Quen. Yeah, I know that would have thrown out some people. Is it Alibaba? You assume it's DeepSeek. But yeah, it's Quen. All right, so that's Stedman. Let me just note down the names so that. By the way, to claim your prize, just send an email to info@jai.org.jm so that we can note you down as one of the persons to get licenses. don't worry, we have like a lot of them to give away. So if you haven't won yet, don't worry. We got some more. All right, so next question. So this one is a little bit closer to home. Now you don't have to drop the email. You can just send an email to, drop the email here. Yeah. info@JI. Let me type it in the chat. Yeah. So you can just send an email. All right. So this one is a little bit closer to home. But if you've been in the community, maybe you know the answer to this. What is the name of JAIA's WhatsApp law chatbot? So Delton with the answer. Yes, the answer is Lawbot. So I've Delton down. All right, so we'll have about 3 more to give away today. See if I can find a question. All right, so this one is okay. Maybe this one's a bit more on the technical. All right, I'm gonna give one that's more current affairs AI. All right, so this video generation tool was just released by OpenAI. What is it? So Sora. Actually, I'm gonna be very specific with this one. So it's actually Sora 2. I'm actually gonna give the praise to the person that said Sora 2 first. So, because they had released a Sora, but the one it's called Sora 2 now. So that's Kinton. Okay. We're actually gonna talk a little bit about that later on in the meeting because I think there's some interesting things to discuss, especially around IP and especially around digital rights. Like, how easy would it be for somebody to use Sora to make a video of you doing something? Something we definitely should talk about. All right, so 2 more questions and then we'll close this out. All right, this one's probably a little bit more on the technical side. Which company created the transformer architecture that powers modern LLMs? All right, I have to give it to Craig. Travis, I'm sorry, but you misspelled Google. Very cool. Yeah. All right, so one more. But don't worry if you don't get one tonight. As I said, there will be opportunities throughout the week and through next week to get a license. All right, let's see if we can find one more question and then we move over to the discussion side of today's meeting, talk a little bit more of what's to come. Okay. I found one. This, well, okay, let me just create one out to do because I'll just, so this person is considered by many to be the godfather of artificial intelligence and has a particular test named after him. Who am I? Yes, the person I am talking about is Alan Turing. I will probably give it to DeAndrew since he had the full name. Yeah, so it's Alan Turing. All right, so that's it for tonight in terms of data camp license giveaways. Oh, well, I almost put down Alan Turing as a person. So if you want to claim your prize, please just send an email. All we need is your email address, and we'll just send those out. And yeah. All right. All right. So yeah, that was fun. So as I said, we're gonna basically have more opportunities throughout the week and through next week for more people to get licensed. So I've given away 6, so about 30, well, 14, about 14 spots. Cool. All right, so on to the next thing, because we don't want to keep you guys here long. It's a Sunday night. I don't know you guys have work or school tomorrow. So, want to discuss some of the latest happenings in AI. So let's start. Well, I guess we can start a little bit close to home and then we can go further away. So recently, so let me see if I can find the document. Right. So apparently Jamaica became one of the first countries in the Caribbean to release this directive on the use of generative AI in court proceedings. All right, so if you didn't know, this happened. So just long story short, it just outlines how Gen AI can be used safely in the courtrooms in Jamaica. How it should not be used, how it can be used, what will happen if you use it improperly. So we can start a discussion here. I don't know if anyone got the chance to maybe take a look at this. If not, we can maybe do a quick read through. And maybe if you have any critique about it, maybe it doesn't go far enough, maybe it goes too far. Does it sort of hamper progress, or maybe is it a bit too loose? We've seen cases where, big companies, I think there was a report the other day, Deloitte, I think that's the name of the company, a consulting company that did a report, and apparently a lot of it was written in AI. They were paid a lot for this report. And there were some misrepresentations in said report, and apparently they have to be paying back the Australian government for some of this. Let's see if I can find a news story. Yeah, so this came out the other day. So apparently they filed some report. I think the Australian government was the client. So yeah, $440,000 report. So yeah, just based on the fact that we know that AI can hallucinate and all of that, maybe some of you are like, hey, AI should be banned altogether in the courtrooms. Maybe some of you are saying that there should be no restrictions altogether. What do you guys think? Let's start the discussion there. Let me just quickly just read maybe like these 3 points here, and then unless in case you guys haven't heard about it at all. So so yeah, use of generative AI in court documents. Court documents generated in whole or in part with the assistance of Gen AI must be thoroughly reviewed, verified, and approved by the party or attorney submitting them. Any court document generated in whole or in part with the assistance of Gen AI must be fact-checked, legally accurate, must not contain fabricated case law, must not include confidential or privileged material submitted to unsecured platforms. Turns out law and parties must not rely solely on Gen AI for legal analysis or citation without confirming the validity. Gen AI tools may be used to assist in drafting the information provided to the court, correspondence, and other case-related documents.
Sorry, Matthew. I
Yeah.
think you may think that we're seeing the screen that you're reading from, but we're not. We're seeing the Deloitte
Oh,
report.
you're not?
No.
Wait, really? Wow. That's could swear it was sharing. Are you guys seeing it?
Yeah, we're seeing it now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. So prohibited uses, Gen AI must not be used to, oh, by the way, if you didn't see, this is the document. I'm not sure when I stopped sharing, but yeah, this is the document. I'll share it in the WhatsApp group unless, in case you haven't seen it. So prohibited uses, Gen AI must not be used to draft or alter affidavits or witness statements intended to reflect a person's direct knowledge, belief, or opinion, generate expert evidence or any report purporting to be from an independent person, create or modify any material intended to be tendered into evidence, generate documents purporting to be original documents, generate images unless this use is expressly requested, explained, and approved by the court, generate invented case law, statutory provisions, legal principles, facts, any information that is not independently verified, generate images or avatars that falsely present or imply an accurate likeness of the person's of the user or any other person for the purpose of joining any virtual conference, meetings, or hearings before judges, masters, registrars, and deputy registrars. Yeah, and okay. So based on what
So
you,
Matthew,
yeah.
could it just go right where we're reading where it says generate, because I see a lot of generate. So yeah, I'm thinking it has a gap. You know what that gap is?
Oh, where? As in here?
No, where it says generate. So yeah, generated. All right. So it doesn't say it doesn't. I don't know where it says it, and I haven't gone through the document. But based on what you just read, it doesn't say anything about data that is already available that it cannot be used. Right. So I think maybe they need to look into that.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
You can explain that point a little further? Data that's already been captured and should not be used.
Yeah. So for example, basically AI cannot work without data. Even though it can generate data, you can put data in a generative AI system, and it gives you additional information. So what I'm saying is what this is speaking to specifically is about generative information. So it's generative information from, it says court documents generated. So if you already have court documents available and you plug this into an AI system, I mean, yes, it's gonna give you additional information, but it doesn't say you cannot use previous information. You follow what I'm saying? It says court documents generated. So you can put in a chat GPT, for example, create a court document for this case.
Yeah, let me see if I understand. Okay, so like you're suggesting in the case where we already have an existing law or an existing document, and we're asking ChatGPT, for example, to summarize it or pull out themes from it or something, and then use that content in another court filing. That's what you're suggesting is being overlooked.
Correct.
Okay, I'm following. Okay. I mean that. Oh, sorry, I see Kenton's hand up. Sorry.
Yeah, team, night. But just a question from me. If there are established cases and there's an established law, in the case we're talking the auspices of the legal system here and but and using tools for legal cases, real cases where people would go to jail. Let me use that. The danger of any AI system generating anything means that whatever it generated is 100% false. You guys tracking what I'm saying? Also, it also means that whatever information it self-generates, self-generation here means that the information itself is false and has no legal, it don't even exist. And I think, unfortunately, that's one of the dangers of the powers of AI systems doing the generation of data, because using the context of a legal system and a legal ecosystem, you should be only using the information within that system to do your analysis or your, I would say, the how you view cases and the results that you get. You should not be generating anything that does not already exist. I hope you guys get what I'm saying. So
Yeah, I get what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what
yeah,
you said.
I mean,
so the
I mean, I'm trying to. Sorry. For me, I think because I'm trying to get at the what do you call it, the concrete use case, right? Because for generative AI, yes, there's the capacity to hallucinate and come up with brand new things that have never been discussed or thought about. But there's also the use case of brainstorming. So we have these ideas, we have several different viewpoints being put together, and you're asking the AI to weigh the pros and cons or summarize what the pros and cons of each debate is, right? Because I would understand that in law, there are several opportunities to discuss, to analyze documentation, and to come up with content, right? That content could be brand new in the sense that you are trying to come up with a brand new case law. That content could be brand new in that you're trying to come up with a brand new argument for an existing case law. So it's for me at least it's a little context or context dependent, because I would agree that we shouldn't use it to come up with anything that doesn't already exist or discuss anything that doesn't already exist. But I think it ultimate responsibility comes back to the lawyer or whichever legal representative. They need to validate anything that they are submitting to the courts because the repercussions are too grave. I think it's the same if you're using LLMs and generative AI in finance, if you're using it in health, if you're using it in government, because the repercussions can be so grave. Yeah, you have to be very ultimately whatever you and I mean you can generate anything you want, but if you're submitting it, somebody has to stand behind this thing, actually have responsibility for it. And if it cannot stand up in court after you submit it, then you should pay the penalties or anything. I mean, so
100%.
that's yeah. I think my thing is though, we're talking, I mean, the courts have, of course, issued guidance on Gen AI in the courts because that's the popular thing right now. And we see, and like I said, we have the repercussions of that. But I'm wondering if they've considered all the other ways that machine learning and AI have been attempted in the courts, in the legal system, and to what extent they want to address that as well. Because I think some of you would have known about some of the issues with like machine learning models being used to come up with rulings, and how bias is so inherent in some of these models that the rulings themselves just, scale the scale the biases of a certain group to the entire system. I think that's maybe the next step that needs to be taken once they finalized on this guidance for Gen AI. There still needs to be the broader discussion about how legal systems treat with just machine learning on the whole. I think not just Gen AI.
I have a out of the box question as we're talking about a legal scenario here.
So before you go, I think Chris had his hand up.
Hey, Matthew, thank you very much. So, based upon the discussion and what was explained a while ago, I have a very, very, very basic 2x2 matrix that I usually explain to people. This is more executive speak because I am more of the translator from tech to business talk. And across one side, it's the cost of making errors, and the other side is necessary information. Is the information explicit data or is it tacit knowledge? And what I'm hearing the explanation a while ago, and I saw somebody make a comment around basically the concept of hallucination. What I think I'm hearing is, and what I think what was meant by not using it in some of these scenarios is, what is the cost of making an error and that error being put in the court of law? So when we're going by our basic case studies, talking to companies, talking to CEOs and executives around using AI, that's one thing I stress. Do not use this in any scenario where the cost of making errors are high. Because and one of those scenarios is a legal recommendation. It's a legal advice, is anything where once you print this document and hand it to someone, they're going to take it and action it, and somebody's going to get in trouble. I happen to be married to a lawyer. I happen to be the son of a lawyer. He's no longer with us. But when I see what these people have to go through, I mean, the sleepless nights that my father had to go through to check, double check, triple check, where the source of this data is coming from, what was the judgment in that specific case, so that he can now make a decision. Because my father was a Supreme Court judge. He ended up, as I said, spent sleepless nights, double checking, triple checking law. So I think that's what these recommendations from some of these, I got the document yesterday. I have not absorbed it fully yet. I just kind of turned all the pages and looked at it. But is to prevent that cost of error. That's what I think ultimately they're trying to do. Those are my 2 cents. Thank you.
That's what I was referring to. Thanks for the language there.
I think Kenton, you're saying something.
Yeah. Especially when persons are industries are moving towards using these tools. In the case of a legal document, wouldn't they have to note which AI tool they use to get information? Because like the Deloitte matter you referred to, I was looking at the YouTube video today on DW about it. They literally cited quotes to authors that these authors never said. Now imagine you are an expert in the field that you are. A court case comes up and unknown to you, your name reaches on the document that was AI generated as a quote for a legal basis for something that you have never said, and this is submitted as a legal document that you know nothing about. That was the type of that was how serious the Deloitte scenario was. That it had quotes for persons that the persons never said. They have never said what it was alluding they said. And for me, for a legal document, if persons are gonna use legal AI tools and such, would they need to add in their notation that they use the tool? Because if they're gonna cite the source, should they also cite the source of the tool if they're using AI tools? That's just me thinking out of the box, because these documents in the legal environment have very serious ramifications. Worse when the information is wrong, because that's what's going on. Because of the generative power of AI, it is building the cases, using the cases as its basis for any recommendation, and it's even using noted persons as the experts. That's what's going on. That's pretty serious. So my thing is, it can't be just you print a document and give me document if it's generated by an AI tool. I would say from a legal standpoint, if you use an AI tool, you need to use the tool. Because if Murphy's Law happened in a legal case, the very document that they submit is going to cause a legal case. But that's just me thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, I think they have provisions so they actually say you need to cite what tool. So they even have how you should cite it. I confirm that the following portions of this document were prepared with the assistance of the tool, a generative AI application. So there is some provisions, it seems, for citing which tool. So it says you have to, where is it? It says where any part of a document submitted to court has been prepared using Gen AI, the party or attorney shall include a declaration in the form set out in the appendix to this practice direction. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. I think we are Jamaica with this, even if it's at in introductory state, we think we're way ahead of some other jurisdictions, literally. That they are thinking about the risks that can occur. So
yeah, doing you have a hand up?
Yeah, so excellent points, gentlemen. You know, I'm looking back at something that you showed earlier, Matthew. You can just go back to the definition of AI that they put there.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So first of all, that is not that definition that they have for artificial intelligence is totally incorrect. Right? What they put there for that definition is actually AI tools that what's his name? Kenton was referring to. Right? That is not artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is much deeper than that. What they're referring to tools like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and all of those, Copilot, all of those different type of generative AI models. So that in itself should be that I don't know who did this, but I need to look into it and update it, because I can tell you, if somebody uses a generative AI tool, they can't use this document to claim to court, right? Based on the definition that is there. And it's ironic that this is something that the laws in Jamaica, the court system put in place when they get the definition wrong in terms of what they're trying to say. So it's kind of ironic when I look at it that way. So yeah, that's just my add.
Yeah, that's a good point. It does have but it seems from the face of it, have a narrow definition for what AI is.
I actually disagree. I think it's a good definition in the sense that I think they were aiming to be very broad. Because if they were to narrow it and to say large language models, or even in this definition to just say specifically, because even below you see they make a definite distinction for generative artificial intelligence, or Gen AI. I think where they have artificial intelligence, that definition is sufficiently broad to capture any system that a company can come and say, this is the system. Because even just the first line, a technology called system, that sorry, these words are tripping me up, that autonomously or partially autonomously processes data related to human activities through the use of algorithms or statistical models and generates content or decisions. I think that covers machine learning, neural networks, even LLMs in some degree. So I actually think they were very good in defining it that way, because I think they wanted to capture any possible software systems that aren't hands-on for the human. Because I think this document is really just saying your lawyers have to be the final say on any of the documents that are being submitted.
Yeah, I think this is a point that needs to be brought up again. But I was wondering, I didn't catch who disagreed with the artificial intelligence definition. On one side, I would say the lawyers will know how to treat with this document a little better than us, because they have a certain way of reading documentation and how to use definitions. But from a technical perspective, I am also struggling with what artificial intelligence actually is. I've been debating this with people for the past 2 years, actually. But so I'm interested in what the alternative definition is, the person who had just disagreed with this one, what they would propose.
Sure. All right. So Robina and Elroy, thanks so much. I don't want to hijack the meeting, so I'll be very short, right? So AI, for example, this is really like the engine. So this is like the raw intelligence, like algorithms, the data model, the learning methods that go into building up an AI system, right? So that you can think of it as the engine. Now the AI tool now, that would be the car. That's what you use to you need the engine in the car for it to move, right? So think of it that way. And then when they put Gen AI now, Gen AI in its simplest form, really and truly is a type of artificial intelligence that can create new content, such as text, images, videos, music, code, or even 3D models that did not exist before, right? So when you look at those three things, as I just shown you, you will get a better understanding that what they have written there in itself for artificial intelligence, someone can actually debate them in a court of law that, listen, I never use no artificial intelligence, so you can't tell me that I used it. Because based on what you're saying is the definition here. I use an artificial intelligence tool. So that's just the point I wanted to share, right? My background, I'm an AI consultant, so I'm not coming from a place where I don't know these things, and I'm not showing off or anything. I'm just trying to see how best we can dissect some of these things and we see them come up as Jamaicans, and look at it realistically, and even reach out to them as an association and listen to them and tell them, say, listen, you guys, you need to amend this thing, because the same persons who are putting it out there for, they can carry guys to court and possibly win. All right.
Can I maybe ask? I agree with what Dwayne is saying, but if in the context of the legal ecosystem, even if a lawyer says they didn't use an AI system, if the output what they have gotten from the system is cases that don't exist, quotes from persons who did not say, he's literally one step or two from fraud enough. That's what is going on. He would not be able to prove what he did unless he did what he did with malicious intent. And the legal ecosystem has its own laws and set up for those type of steps. So that's if in the context of what we're looking at, the guideline and even the example of the Deloitte, they have a legal scenario, literally, because they submitted a document that they use generative AI. They signed off on it and they submitted it to a client. So that within itself, I would say, literally would breach some terms of the agreements and some of the contracts that they had for their own clients, especially when you go the proof of work where you can say, based on the work that you have put out, you have proven you have not vetted the work that you did. You did not check your sources. So there are legal ramifications, especially in the ecosystem we're talking. For a legal tool, the two edges of the sword are there. That's what I'm saying. So if as you said about a AI system in large language model engine and stuff, the people are gonna use it as a tool, if you understand what I'm saying. We're not anywhere near AI lawyers, and I hope we never reach there. Any lawyer is a professional, technically supposed to be a human. They're going to use any system as a tool. But that's just what I'm adding to the discussion.
Say Elroy, then Dr. Will.
Right. I think, yeah, I think this is foundational, the definition of artificial intelligence. And I was wondering if the JAIA, as hoping to be the voice of AI in Jamaica, if they have established what that definition is among the professional community, because I think the legal community will want to reference that somehow. So I was wondering if the JIA itself has a definition for it.
Not a official definition, no. I mean, as you rightly said, that it especially now, the term artificial intelligence, exactly what that means, it's very debatable at the moment. A lot of people, their idea of artificial intelligence is a fairly narrow view. It's machine learning, generative AI. Most of the tools that we know, like the chat GPTs, Gemini, is just an instance of that. But AI has existed since the 1950s. And before there was generative AI, before there was machine learning, there was a concept called artificial intelligence. So even before there was the idea of using data and statistical models, there were people building expert systems that didn't use any of those things that were still
Right, yes.
called AI. So
Which are still being used today, actually, in some
yeah,
cases.
exactly. Definitions can update over time, particularly in culture or whatever. But the fact is, there was an AI. The term AI did exist for a long time, and does include things that
Test.
are currently being used now, like the statistical models, generation, stuff like that. Back in the day, it was just rules-based, expert-based systems. You just put in the rule. Yeah, that was called AI. Now everything is basically machine learning, because that's just what working. That's just
Right.
what's right now. But it could very well go back to, you have symbolic AI. These are things even discussed outside of academia, really. But it could very well go back to that one day. So the general definition is really just creating systems that automate, or trying to automate, some human task. But that's a very broad definition.
Right. I think it's an opportunity. One of the things the JIA could push, especially maybe through the policy committee, is that kind of understanding and public education. So we have a broad definition. We understand what the instances of that broad definition are, so that we can also, as was just mentioned, guide other sectors in how to treat it, this thing, especially as it becomes more impactful. And the cost of getting it wrong increases. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's a good point. For sure. Dr. Luaji?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to second that point. I think it would be an interesting exercise for the association to actually publish a definition, or at least begin working on what it considers artificial intelligence generally, and then probably for various domains as well. But the main thing I wanted to to raise was with relation to the definition. I'm not sure if it's because of the particular domain that the document exists in, but it seems to limit AI to data related to human activities. All right, but I'm sure that AI can, or maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but the data can be generated outside of human activities, or that AI could actually interact with. Also, I notice, the common definitions that I know tend to, as Matthew alluded to, speak to tasks requiring human intelligence and human tasks, such as planning, problem solving, recognition. All of that seems to be missing from that definition. All right, so I just wanted to raise those points. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the argument could be made that this document isn't trying to cover all of AI, maybe just in specific context. But to Dwayne's point, um, there could be an instance where a tool that maybe isn't using any data related to human activities, but it is automating some human tasks. So in a way, it could be considered AI, and what if that is used in some legal way? Could they possibly say, hey, based on your definition, it's not AI, so it's good. I can use this without declaring it. That's that's a avenue that could possibly be explored. But before we don't want to go too deep down this cavern, but definitely a good discussion so far. Definitely something we can pick up back. I like the idea about the association probably coming up with a definition for AI. Share it with the public, because you're right. There a lot of people do have this narrow idea of what AI is. They think it's just Gen AI, but the point is it's a lot larger than that. AI has been around a lot long before Gen AI. Craig, get in.
Yeah, just to say, I'm not absolutely sure what the weight of this document is within the legal ecosystem. It's a practice direction, but it does say it will be subject to periodic review. And my guess is that Justice Sykes wanted to provide some guidance because we have had cases here in the Caribbean, other Commonwealth jurisdictions, where AI has been used to produce authorities that didn't really exist. Fabrications, very much like we see in the case of the Deloitte article. So I think Justice Sykes is to be commended for elevating this discussion and encapsulating what the ecosystem, what the legal ecosystem currently knows. I'm assuming there was consultation in this document. And I do think it'll be useful for us as an organization to weigh in. I also want to point out that Trinidad, because someone said that well, we don't know how groundbreaking this is, because certainly Trinidad has a white paper um, on their AI Act, and that white paper is now more than 3 months old. So they are in the process of producing an act, and it'd be useful to keep track of what's going on there, because Trinidad is also quite advanced in terms of their thinking in terms of the public sector of AI. Just wanted to share that with you folks.
Yeah, I think I heard it on the radio. I don't know what the accuracy of that statement, but I think that's the media report being as if it's like the first in the Caribbean type thing. I'm not sure about the accuracy, but that's what I've been hearing on the radio. Cool.
Bye-bye.
Grace? I think we'll just end with Grace and move into the
All right.
next.
Yeah, hi. Evening, everybody. Just a couple of things. There's actually coming in on the last thing that was said about the practice direction. There actually is one from the Caribbean Court of Justice, which is similar to this. So this one for Jamaica may not be that far from it. I didn't have an opportunity to compare the two, but there actually is one for the Caribbean Court of Justice, which is a similar practice direction regarding the use of AI. So it's not that, it's not really that new
Yeah.
in ours is not really that new because there is one already for the CCG. But why it actually raised my hand in the first place was to talk up, just to go back a little bit on the definition and the efforts to define AI. I actually found it a little surprising that there was no reference to whatever definition the AI task force would have used, or Jamaica, I don't know what the official, I can't remember what the official name of the task force is. There would have, but I would take it, and I just not remembering right now. I can't put my hand on the document. On the what definition would have been in whatever mandate or document that they would have produced, mandate that they got or document that they produced. I would take it that there would have been a definition of AI in there to start with, and also the UNESCO report on Jamaica's AI readiness would also have a definition. Not to say that we have to be married to either of those two, but if the association is going to now go on a mission to define it, it also needs to subtly or directly explain why it's not using the one that has been already, put out there. But just to say, to kind of manage that if people have one thing in their mind and you're going to put something else out there, then you have to have a plan as to how you're going to shift.
It so happened the chairman of the task force is actually in
yes, I heard him.
the chat.
I heard him. I heard him. I heard him. I
Yeah.
heard him.
Chris.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
But I'm
called
just saying that there's some document must be there with that definition. It's just I'm not putting my hand on it very swiftly to
yeah.
just say it. And then in the chat I also put forward two references. One is from an IBM document and the other one is from OECD. And making the point that that we're treading that difficult. It's becoming really, really difficult to kind of define AI separate from AI systems. And I don't really know if you really wanted that. I think we just need to keep the conversation about AI systems because once it's, it's the whole, it's the whole thing.
Right.
The hardware, software, and the processes. Because when you start to pick the pieces and start talking about the tools now, then the whole conversation that you had before is even more relevant as to if I do this, if I use this particular tool or I don't use that tool, am I using AI or am I not using AI? AI system is really the thing that needs the definition, in my view, is really what needs the definition more than anything else in the Jamaican context. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
This was a very great, it's a good discussion. Definitely something we want to pick up. Probably something we can more formally discuss during the policy committee. But we'll see. Before we end tonight, because I don't want to drag this past 9:30, there's one more thing I wanted to get you guys' opinions on. So just recently, OpenAI would have released their new video generation tool, Sora 2. I don't know if you guys have been looking at the videos this thing has been producing, but yeah, it's quite amazing where Gen AI technology has come to at this point. But the thing I want for us to discuss, I think it's a very important discussion to have. Probably don't have a whole lot of time to discuss it too deeply, but I have been seeing a lot of videos generated in Sora 2 with actual people. So I've been seeing a lot of Michael Jackson videos. There's videos with Tupac, Biggie. So these are real people alive and some dead. The question is, First of all, ethically, is this right? Should, OpenAI even be allowed to allow people to do something like this? I mean, just imagine a loved one that maybe has a lot of content on the internet and somehow people are there generating videos of them doing all sorts of stuff, basically desecrating their memory. Shouldn't there be some sort of at least ramifications for doing something like that, or at least have some ownership over our digital rights, basically? I want to hear your guys' opinion on this. The floor is open.
So I saw some of the videos, and of course that thought came to me about ethics. But then one can argue that this is freedom of somebody creating content that expresses a certain story or meaning. So they have freely gone in and they have typed a prompt, which they are free to do, and it has generated something that they want. So the question then is, are there limits to freedom of expression when it comes to generative AI? That's the question. And if the question is no, then that would lean more to the answer. But if the question is yes, yeah, somebody laughing at, is it right? Exactly, we might have to redefine right. We might have to really look into what exactly is right and what exactly is wrong. So this technology, is really pushing the envelope and causing us within the ecosystem to really think deeper in terms of freedom of expression. Because even creatives, I mean, a lot of creatives right now, they are just there and they are trying to figure out how they can capitalize on artificial intelligence without putting their own individual creativity in the back bench. So that's something also that we have to look into, So that's my 2 cents, Matthew.
Okay. Kenton.
I think we may be looking at the wrong thing. Who owns the image rights for Tupac? Who owns the image right for Michael Jackson? Because what might happen every time persons generate these videos using Tupac and Michael Jackson, and these persons, they're gonna have to pay the persons that own these rights. There's a lot of, I'm gonna say, call it IP violation that's going on with AI, and I don't think the purveyors of these systems are thinking about the ramifications. The more they use persons' intellectual property without permission, and they keep making money from it, is the more persons who own these rights are gonna come after them. All right, the $1.5 billion lawsuit that Anthropic was, that they have to be paying out now, was as a result of them using persons' books and stuff illegally, or they use it illegally. Now they have to be paying money. And I think the same thing is gonna be going for these tools, because the persons who own the rights to these images are gonna simply wait until persons start make money off it, and then they come at you. Because let's not go beat around the bush. All of these images are making money for somebody somewhere. It's moving either a dollar sign or a cent sign somewhere for somebody. So at the end of the day, if they make $1 million off Tupac, I think one of the videos was in WWE. WWE owns the image right for WWE. Somebody somewhere might own the image right for Tupac. And if they have Tupac with other wrestlers, persons who own these image rights are gonna start coming for the the money that these things are cost? Are they gonna come for the penalties for using their intellectual property without permission? That a lot of that is gonna happen. So that's my 5 cents. The movie industry, I think, is the next player that's gonna cause a lot of things with the AI. Because they're gonna start filing the violations for the intellectual property. And these people have serious lawyers, very hard hitters. So yeah.
Yeah, Elroy.
Yeah, I'm thinking about now the implications of this in terms of personal information. Because I think right now, maybe, I don't know, especially our Jamaica Information Act as it relates to what we are supposed to have control over. Things like your name, address, etc. Do those now include your image or likeness? Because part of the issue now is if I put up an image on Instagram of me and my 18-month-old son, can somebody take a picture of my son and have him doing all sorts of things without my consent and it's still being legal? I may not like it, I may not appreciate it, but um, in the eyes of the law, at least it's fine. Ethically, I don't think it's okay. I don't think anybody wants their images and their likeness to be used for anything without their permission. So ethically, I don't think I'd appreciate it. Legally, there might be, some support for it, like you said, with IP rights and all of that. People sign these laws all the time or these contracts all the time that give companies the right to use their likeness and image for the rest of time in the known universe or some wording like that. Um, but I'm also wondering about the implications of what this means for like your terms and agreement when you sign up for YouTube, when you sign up for Instagram, when you sign up for Facebook. Um, yeah, when you sign up for any, what do you call it, government issued ID now, do we need to be more cautious what we are? Well, we do need to be more cautious these days. How our data will be managed, and our data now includes, yeah, our image and likeness. I think the other thing that came to mind for me was the whole issue of like political cartoons and how this branches off of that. Because, yeah, we have media houses that can create, likenesses of political and popular figures doing all crazy sorts of things, and they get away with it, as long as it's not, libelous or anything like that. Is it the same issue with Gen AI right now? We're just, instead of creating cartoons, we're creating videos. Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Dr. Bewaji.
Yeah, I mean, for me, probably maybe taking it in another direction, but I'm thinking about from the healthcare perspective, the ability of persons to generate images that borrow authority from well-known figures, right? Which could then be used to share health misinformation at scale, about drugs, about treatments, or can you imagine during COVID, what could have been done with some of these things? So that's really what what's been on my mind about how persons can actually use these systems. I mean, deepfakes are not entirely new, but it's more democratized now that you could actually do it so much more easily. So it's how persons can borrow authority from well-known public figures or even healthcare figures or even your doctor, right? Post a video that could be used to misinform or mislead you in a particular direction, or even live telemedicine, telehealth calls, if you get to that point where persons could actually be defrauding or tricking person. So that's really what's on my radar as it relates to that. A little bit different, yeah, but healthcare.
Yeah. Craig, I think I saw your hand up, but maybe I'd remove it.
Yeah, I'll just weigh in very briefly. So I agree with what Temi has just said, and in fact, in the last 2 weeks, we've had a real case here in Jamaica where someone posted a video on Facebook claiming to it's a deep fake of the Governor General, our Governor General, claiming to be promoting a financial scheme. It's clearly a Ponzi scheme. To me, it's clearly a Ponzi scheme. But it was brought to my attention by other persons in Jamaica who thought it was real. This was the Governor General saying it's a scheme backed by the Bank of Jamaica, and supposedly being interviewed by one of the senior most editors at the Gleaner Company. Now, something like that is clearly fraudulent, and there are laws that we can try to use to deal with that. It's on Facebook, and I doubt they would respond. I brought this to the attention of the Broadcasting Commission. But it's not easy for us to deal with that kind of thing. But at least it's clear to us that that is fraudulent. The But there's another angle, which is where I think where this conversation started, with when Matthew asked, "Is it right?" When 1 million people or 1 billion people can do this, the question of, well, is the public good better served by having this new technology than any harms that arise. And I think that's something that the courts will eventually have to deal with, because I mean, intellectual property law hasn't stood still. It's changed over time. And especially in the countries that have the money, the wealth, and the military means to enforce their will, right? Actually, intellectual property law is in the U.S. Constitution. So it's always meant a big deal to them. The question for us in Jamaica is, as a country on the periphery, what position ought we to take through the multilateral, so to, for example, the UN and other bodies where we have a voice. And so I think this is a conversation that we need to stay engaged with. Yeah, I'll stop there.
Craig, was that Governor General or the BOJ governor?
The Governor General, sir, a deep fake of the Governor General saying that the Bank of Jamaica had endorsed the scheme.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, it's clear that the technology is very powerful. It's very hard nowadays to be able to tell an AI generated video from a real video. It's gonna get even harder. It may not seem like much of a problem because it may not be hitting too close to home, but what happens when it only takes up single picture of you for somebody to generate a very realistic video of you doing something that you would not even dream of doing. Who faces the consequences then? Should the company that built the tool face some sort of consequences? Could they have enacted more guardrails? I mean, I definitely think when it comes to generating likeness of famous people, I'm sure OpenAI could definitely enact more guardrails, but they're not going to do that because at the moment, until they get into trouble with it legally, they're making a lot of money doing that, allowing it to happen. Grace?
Yeah, just quickly, I just posted it that there is draft legislation, the UK actually, or EU, I can't remember which one right now, regarding
EU, yeah.
regarding disclosure sources used to train data models. And if that passes, that's going to be, it should be a disruptor. And there could be a lot of suits, because even something like Getty Images, for example, which is widely referenced, we understand, by ChatGPT and other models, they can actually use that to say, well, we never give you permission to use our data or images to train your model. So if that, it is something to watch, to see where that is going. Yeah, just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. I mean, another thing to also consider is just how our data is represented, you know. So, somebody trying to generate some Jamaican like personality just based on maybe how that model was trained, it could represent our culture in a way we don't want it to be represented. So that's another thing to also consider. How for us as a country to consider is how our culture is represented by Gen AI. Is it how we want it to be represented? And should we have a say in how our culture is represented by Gen AI? Robino?
Yes, quickly. I just want to make a reference to, for those of us who can remember when dial-up internet was our first means of access. When I first went on the internet, I wasn't supposed to be my real self on the internet. You're supposed to use a pseudonym, and we didn't actually represent who we were in real life on the internet. We use usernames and acronyms to represent ourselves. But I think it's a case where we can't really put the genie back in the bottle, where now we are ourselves on the internet, and to think that we need to operate in a world where we can't be that, I think it's very hard to come back from that. And we have to be very diligent about how we allow our images and our likeness to be, published by ourselves and by others, especially in a time like this when, somebody can deep fake you doing a crime, and somebody publish you doing robbing a car and put it on social media, and then now people think you're a criminal. So we have to be very careful in these times, and we have to be very diligent in how we structure, as we were just discussing the legal framework around artificial intelligence and Gen AI. We have to be diligent in how we support initiatives that protect citizens. And because, IP, the companies will have IP lawyers to go and fight certain cases. But if you're just a regular citizen, we need a legal framework that can protect us from those harms. But definitely it's, as I said earlier, it's equally an interesting idea. Yes, you can make nice, fun videos and you can generate a movie or something, or do something very informative, but it cuts both ways and you can do really bad stuff with it. So I think it's just something we have to be careful with how we use.
All right, good point. I think we'll end at that point. Well, I think Craig has a nope.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. 10 years ago, I recall using Excel. I was at the Ministry of Education at the time, and I had someone else who was a civil servant running the same analysis. And we came back with two different results. And it was simply what is the modal value it was actually of salaries at the ministry, and monthly salaries, and that's over 25,000 teachers. And we had different values, and I'm like, how is this possible? And then I remembered, well, Excel at that time only used the first 250 values whenever it was computing any kind of mean or median or mode, any one of those averages. I mentioned that no, because you see, we are going to have the same challenge here with these different reasoning models or language models. We're going to have to train the workforce and the coming workforce on the weakness of each of these tools, because there are going to be we have to learn to use these tools. Otherwise, we're going to be left behind, right? The question is, can we use them to improve our situation while guarding against the inevitable harms? Because almost every technology can be used for both good or ill. And let's be very clear, folks. We control less than 0.1% of global trade. There, and we do not have the political clout that we had in the 1970s. Jamaica is very much an order taker now, whether it's in terms of economic clout or political. So we have to go through the United Nations and other multilateral bodies. We and the where this organization can make an impact, I think, is in helping the policymakers and those persons who can influence the direction of the society to recognize where these technologies can help us to move the society forward, while at the same time becoming more and more aware of what the potential harms are. I'm saying this now because whenever a technology or any view, any phenomena becomes polarized, the discussion around it becomes polarized, then it becomes very hard to change people's perspectives. We see this with climate change. We see this more and more. It's happening with autonomous vehicles and so on. And in Jamaica, we have an opportunity at this point to make to influence the way the society perceives AI, including generative AI. And I think we need to seize that opportunity before before we miss it, before the window closes. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great point, Craig. It's definitely something we'll be working towards. I think we'll bring the discussion to an end here. Well, Grace, that handles from before, or you wanted to close on something?
Sorry, no, my bad.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we'll close it off here. Just want to remind you guys that if you haven't signed up, if you're interested in being part of the research committee, please sign up. We'll be announcing the first meeting for that soon. Or if you want to be a part of any of the committees, there's a policy committee, technical committee. We are planning to do some revamps to the website. We're imagining having the website be sort of like all-in-one portal, where members can go on there if they want to learn AI stuff. They can learn from the site, track their progress, sign up to committees. So basically, sort of all-in-one platform, enabling more communication and just, allowing more collaboration through the website. So that's definitely something that we be working on. And if you want to help, please reach out, because that's definitely one of the things we want to get done. All right. So I just want to say thanks to everyone for coming. Everybody shared some great insights. These are some very important conversations to be had. Definitely need to have more of them. Feel free to, reach out in the community. If there's a discussion or a new topic that you guys think should be discussed, feel free to start a discussion. Have everyone share their opinions. But yeah, thanks guys for taking your time out. Have a good night.
Night, everyone.
All right, night everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Take care.